The old Victorian mansion at the edge of Ravenwood Forest had always been the source of chilling tales. Isolated and overgrown with ivy, it was said to harbor a dark secret, a curse that had consumed its previous owners. But to Clara, the mansion was a beacon of possibility. A struggling painter, she'd recently inherited the house from a distant relative. She never knew and saw it as her chance to start over. The day she arrived, the house felt alive. The walls seemed to breathe, the floorboards groaned beneath her feet, and the shadows danced unnaturally in the flickering light. Despite the unease that clawed at the edges of her mind, Clara found the mansion oddly comforting, as though it were welcoming her home. In the grand library, she discovered an old portrait of a man. His piercing gray eyes seemed to follow her, and his face, though hauntingly handsome, was etched with sorrow. Beneath the painting was a plaque, Victor Alden, 1862. She couldn't help but feel drawn to him, as though his gaze held secrets meant only for her. That night, Clara dreamt of Victor. He stood at the edge of her bed, his voice a soft whisper. "You shouldn't have come here," he said, his tone both warning and longing. She woke with a start, the faint scent of cedar lingering in the air, though there was no trace of him. Over the weeks, Clara began to paint furiously, inspired by visions she couldn't explain. Each canvas was filled with images of Victor standing by the forest, sitting in the library, reaching out to her. At first, she thought she was losing her mind, but the more she painted, the closer she felt to him. The whispers began soon after. At first, they were faint, like the rustling of leaves, but as the days passed, they grew louder, forming words she couldn't ignore. "Save me," they begged. "Find me." Clara followed the voices to the basement, where she discovered a locked door. Behind it, she found a room frozen in time, a bedroom draped in decay and tragedy. On the desk lay a journal, its pages filled with Victor's desperate writings. Victor had been cursed, trapped between life and death by a jealous lover who dabbled in dark magic. His soul was bound to the mansion, unable to move on. Clara's heart ached for him, her fear giving way to determination. She had to free him. The whispers guided her to a hidden compartment in the library, revealing an ancient spell book. Within it, she found a ritual to break the curse, but it came at a cost. A life for a life. Clara hesitated. Could she sacrifice herself for a man she'd never truly known, yet somehow loved? That night, Victor appeared before her in full form for the first time. His touch was cold, his presence fleeting, but his sorrow was palpable. "You don't owe me this," he said, his voice trembling. "You deserve a life of your own."